Namaste everyone, I'm Ramya Shri. Welcome to my channel Ashwin's Astrology. As I mentioned in the previous video, so I'll be making the individual moon sun predictions for this lunar eclipse which is happening on 18th of September. So let's begin with Mesh Rashi. So for Mesh Rashi natives, your Rashadipati Mars is placed in third house, which is house of efforts, and also it's a Parakram stan. And this eclipse is happening in the 12th house. Fourth Lord Moon is in close conjunction with Rahu. In the 12th house, so you might experience some kind of mental agony, and there could be some sleeping sickness also, because 12th house represents Shayana Sukha, so there will be some lack of sleep as well. And also you might experience some amount of difference of opinion with your mother, or not so good relation with your mother also during this time period. Also there could be some mental worries which is haunting you from a very long time, and also there could be some unpleasant dreams also during this time period, because your 12th lord is in a second house. It may also mean that you might be worried from financial perspective. Your expenditures might rise to very great extent, because 12th house has moon rahu's conjunction, so there could be a lot of confusion, like where to put your money or where not to put your money. So all these confusions would be going around your head. So during this time period, don't go for any big investments, or don't go for any bigger amount of expense also, buying any new gadget also, because saving money should be your first priority during this time period. From career perspective, it's a very good time period, because your 10th lord Shani is in 11th house only and is retrograde, and Mars, your Rashadipati, is watching your 10th house, and also Jupiter is watching your 10th house. So Mars, Jupiter both are protecting your career, and you'll have very good time period also in workplace. And Venus being in a 7th house, so marital relations also would be very smooth and would be pleasant during this time period. And because 6th house has Sun Ketu's conjunction, you will be a little bit worried about your general health. But because it is in Shubhakartar Yoga, Mercury at the other side and Venus at the other side, you'll be able to manage your health to a very good extent. And Mars is also aspecting your 6th house, so you'll be able to withstand any kind of simple sickness also, and you'll be able to manage it well. So overall, for seeing for Mesh Rashi, other than the sleeping sickness, unpleasant dreams, and also the financial perspective, I don't see much problems Mesh Rashi natives. So this is somewhat a good time period for Mesh Rashi native. Next, moving ahead to Vrishabh Rashi natives. So for Vrishabh Rashi natives, the Rashadipati Venus is in the other house of herself. So it is in the 6th house. So health-wise, you will have a good time period. And if you are into any competitive, if you are attempting any competitive examinations, you will have good success in that. And during this time period, there will be a lot of transformation which will go through you also. And this eclipse is happening in 11th house. So as I mentioned in the Medini Jyotish also, the same kind of eclipse apply here also. So if you have made any long-term investment long ago, redeeming them or encashing them during now would be a great decision. So you would get a very good amount of profits during this time. But don't go for another long-term investment during this time period, because your 12th lord is in a second house. So eating up your savings is very much seen this time period. So encashing any prior long-term investment decisions seems to be good during this time period. But going for another long-term investment may not be good during this time period. And your 5th lord and 4th lord has exchanged their houses, so you might see a very good time period at your home with all comforts and everything. So this is a somewhat a very pleasant time period for Vrishabh Rashi natives. And of course your career also would be really well, because Jupiter is aspecting your 9th house, and your 9th and 10th lord Yoga Karaka Shani is well placed, so you won't experience that amount of bad results. So for Vrishabh Rashi, because the eclipse is happening in 5-11 axis, it's actually a good one itself. So for children of Vrishabh Rashi, you might have to stay little bit extra careful towards your children. Though the 5th house is in the Shubhakartar Yoga, it is good to pay more attention towards your children during this time period. Not much any negative effects are noted during this time period, but it is good to pay attention to your children. Next, moving ahead to Mithun Rashi. So for Mithun Rashi natives, you have Mars in your Rashi. Mars is 6th and 11th Lord in the Rashi, and Mars is not a benefit planet to Mithun Rashi. He becomes Nicha Vilashi in the Mithun Rashi, and he's not a friend of Mercury, your Rashadipati as well, and your Rashadipati is in the 3rd house. So writers, authors of Mithun Rashi, you will have a good time period, but generally you would be at a very short-tempered mode right now. So generally, Gemini Rashi people are someone who think first, then act. But during this time period, you would be urging more to act first, then to think. So if you could follow your normal procedure of thinking first and then acting, then it will definitely come in handy for you. And because this eclipse is happening in your 10th house, and whole 410 axis is kind of afflicted, so you will struggle very hard to meet work-life balance. So at workplace, you would have some emotional worries also, or some confusions also of what's happening and what's not happening. So all these problems will be erupting on a daily basis at your workplace. So it will be very difficult for you to manage your day-to-day activities at workplace also. So you have to have some amount of patience, and then you have to work on it. Because Mars is in your Rashi, you might be getting angry on your colleagues or on your employees also during this time period. So that's also very much noted during this time period. So other than that, your children will be really doing well right now, especially female children of Mithun Rashi. You will be really blessed during this time period, because 5th Lord Venus is in 5th house only. And also to note, the 7th Lord Jupiter is in 12th house. So you might spend good amount of time period with your spouse also. You might even travel abroad with your spouse, or go for a vacation also, because the 9th Lord Saturn is also in that support. So there's a lot to happen. So from family perspective, family life perspective, it's really good. Work life balance is a bit concern for you right now. So that's one thing. And also for your father, health is a main perspective, because your 9th Lord Saturn is well placed, but Sun, who represents the natural, is the natural karaka of father. He's sitting in the 4th house, so may not be good time period for them. So do take care of your parents, mother or father, both of them. So please do pay attention to their health and for their happiness as well during this time period. And anyone who has invested in real estate during this time period of Mithun Rashi, please be very careful, because you might experience some amount of cheating or some confusion also, which may happen during this time period. So any property, any vehicle related matter for some time period, please do avoid during this time period. So this was for Mithun Rashi natives. Next, moving ahead to Karkarataka Rashi, or Cancer Rashi. So for Cancer Rashi natives, your Rashi Adhipati is getting involved in the eclipse in the 9th house, and the 10th Lord is coming to the 12th house. So there could be some change in your career, some new project may come up, or you might actually get relieved of your current workplace also. So there could be some change we can see, because your 8th Lord Saturn is seeing the 10th house also. So it won't be that easy for you to manage things. So Moon Rahu in the 9th house also shows that some kind of confusions in your career also, of what to do, what not to do. So things are still in a messy nature. So that's also very much seen here. And 2nd Lord Sun and 3rd Lord Mercury has exchanged their houses. So because of which, if any of the writers or artists of especially like painting, so those kind of people of Cancer Rashi, or even musicians also, they will actually experience good amount of time period right now, but they may actually experience some amount of lackings in whatever work they do. So most of the work Cancer Rashi people would do right now in their artistic profession, like painting, musician. I don't include dance here, because 2nd and 3rd house is for things which you do through your voice, or through your communication, or through your hands. So only these professions will have a very good time period, but to the complete, it's not. So there will be some or the other lacking, which you will see during this time period. Your marital relations are bit strained right now, because of 7th Lord Saturn in 8th house and is Vakri, and Mars is also aspecting it. your yoga karaka. So you might have to fight little bit hard to get things done. And Jupiter is also aspecting your seventh house. So wisdom is wise decision is much better than fighting or kind of or getting into quarrel. So that's also is advice for Karkatak Rashi natives. And for next moving ahead to Simha Rashi. For Simha Rashi natives, your Rashi Adhipati is afflicted with Ketu in second house. So you have to be 1,000 times careful before uttering any word, especially when you are at workplace, because Sun represents higher authority. So whether you are in public sector or in private sector, please be careful about what you are saying in connection to your higher authority or when you are speaking with your higher authority. So even when you're speaking with your colleagues also, it might all of a sudden get passed to the higher authority because it's in Rahu Ketu axis. So they are very well known for passing up the messages. So that can also happen. And be very careful about what you say, what you comment also. That's something you have to keep a check on. And for Simha Rashi natives, you have a good pleasant career right now because of Jupiter's presence in the 10th house. So you won't prefer working hard right now, but in an ease you want to complete the things. So that's noted right now. But because of 6th and 7th lord, Saturn is Vakri and is in 7th house, your spouse health may not be that well, and you might be worrying for that because 2nd lord Mercury is in the Lagna. So financially it's a good position, and 11th lord Mercury is in the Lagna. It's definitely a very good position, but 6th and 7th lord Saturn in 7th house and is retrograde. So unnecessarily you may worry a lot for your husband or for your wife, so for your spouse health actually. And 12th lord moon is what is undergoing through the eclipse in the 8th house. So you might see some worst amount of results also. You might spoil the relation with your mother, or you might even experience some unwanted stuffs also happening during this time period. And if there is any legal case related to inheritance going on, you might face a kind of setback also during this time period if you try to approach them. So this time period is not good for going ahead with those plans from which you are expecting profit, because 8th house is not in a good position. So Rahu can turn the tables when it appears to be so good on paper. Rahu has the habit of turning the tables. So it is best to avoid those things and to be intelligent and wise enough in our approach. So for Simha Rashi natives, it is said to be in caution right now. Next, moving ahead to Kanya Rashi. So for Kanya Rashi natives, you have having the eclipse happening in 7th house. So this is not good for your public image and also for your marital relations. And also if you are into business, it is not good for that also. And for your career also, it will have some cascading impact because 7th house is the 10th house from the 10th house. So that's definitely is there. But because your Rashi is in Shubha Kartari Yoga, you will feel that you are blessed and you are somehow able to manage. So that's very much noticed. And because Mars is in the 10th house, you would be, because he's Digbali in the 10th house, so you would be courageous enough and you'll be able to handle things bit well. But even again, you will be tired very quickly because your 12th lord sun is in the Rashi and your Rashi Adhipati is in the 12th house. So monetary issues definitely will pop up. You will have a very high expenditures also. But because second house lord Venus is in the second house and Jupiter is aspecting your Rashi, you have a lot of benefit aspects on your Rashi and a support. So amidst of all these problems, you'll be able to somehow manage yourself. And it's very important to take care of your mental health also during this time period, because Ketu is present in Hasta Nakshatra only and Surya is in its own nakshatra. So in mental health is also a very good amount of concern. So this was for Kanya Rashi natives. Next, moving ahead to Tula Rashi. So for Tula Rashi, this is happening in 6th and 12th axis. So from health perspective, definitely it's a concern because the 10th Lord Moon is in the 6th house. So, and it is in a watery sign also. But 10th and 6,000 is going. So there's a change in workplace, or there is a change in the way you work, or a new project may come up, or new department, or you might shift to a new job within the organization. So that's also noted. And eighth lord, because eighth house has Jupiter now, so it will be a good transformation, I can say. And because Shani, your Yogakarka is well placed in the fifth house, so you would not face that amount of difficulties during now. So fortune will actually support you also during this time period. And because the Sun Ketu is in the 12th house, so you might worry a lot for your father, and also you might worry a lot for your uh, salary perspective also, because 11th house represents the salary, professional income, and any kind of income. So you might be little bit worried about your money matters. And the second lord Mars is in the 9th house, so it should actually somehow compensate you with some good amount of money, because it's forming the Dhan Yoga right now. But expenditures will be very high, and you might struggle to even meet the ends also. So that's noted for Tula Rashi natives. And because Moon Rahu is in the sixth house, this is very good for sports person who want to challenge, and who are into competitive world also. This would be very good. So if you are into any profession like law, sports, or anywhere where you need that competitive spirit and that challenging, never give up kind of situation, definitely this is a time period very, very useful for you. So next, moving ahead to Vrishchik Rashi. So for Vrishchik Rashi natives, this is happening in 511 axis. So your children health will be definitely a concern. And because of Mars, your Rashi is in the 8th house. So you might get some kind of inheritance from your family, from your parents. And also because of Jupiter in the 7th house, you will have a good marital relation. And because of 511 axis, you might actually lose some amount of money in stock markets, but also you will gain a good amount of money also. But because of 12th lord Venus in 12th house, there will be a great amount of expenditure, but also again it will be for your luxury and for comforts. So Vrishchik Rashi people may attempt, or may actually think to spend their money for the comfort and ease life. They may go on a vacation also with their spouse, because 7th house Lord Venus is in 12th house, and Jupiter is in 7th house. The 5th Lord and the 2nd Lord in 7th house. So it's a very good time period to spend good amount of time period with your family and children. And of course, your children health is bit concern, but it's manageable is what I would say. Next, coming to Dhanu Rashi. So for Dhanu Rashi natives, this is happening in 4th axis. So you may experience some unpleasant events in your workplace, and also with your mother also, because the 8th Lord Moon is coming and sitting in 4th house, and it is Rahu. So there could be some difference of opinion with your mother also, with your in-laws also. And it's not a good house for the happiness, and for the domestic happiness. And also for Moon Rahu conjunction in 4th house shows some kind of confusions in life of what you want to do. And Sun Ketu in the 10th house, so it shows some strained relation with your higher authority, whether you're in public or in private sector. And because of Mars in the 7th house, you might be having that fighting spirit, but you might lack to go ahead and express yourself in a better way. And Jupiter, your Rashadhipati, is in the 6th house, so you might have to little bit struggle well, or you might be pushed by your opponents also. But somehow you'll be able to manage your workplace and challenges there. But you have to take care at your home. And also you have to take care of yourself. So you might be little bit disturbed also from mental health perspective. And if you have invested in any kind of real estate, or any new property or vehicle, you have to be a bit careful, because there could be some confusion in the legal papers, and you might end up losing some amount of money also. So it is very, very important to check 100 times before proceeding in these matters. And if your Dasha Antardasha is supporting, definitely it's not a major concern. But again, this eclipse has an capacity to actually even uh, give those kind of effects if the Mahadasha or Antardasha Lord is a little bit weak also. So this was for Dhanu Rashi. Next, coming to Makar Rashi. So for Makar Rashi natives, this is happening in 3-9 axis. So it is a really good one. So your siblings, your younger siblings may experience some negative effects, but for you it is a very good one. So you would be very courageous. You would be very like a parakrami also. So you might experience some good amount of time period with your family also. And after a long time, you will spend good time with your family. That I can say. And it is very good for your children because of Jupiter's presence in the fifth house, and also Mars in the sixth house. That's also a wonderful transit, because Mars has fourth and 11th lord in the sixth house is good, and because it's a malefic planet. So, but fourth lord in the sixth house. So again, health wise issues to your mother. But moon also is denotes your mother, and the seventh lord is getting into this conjunction. So that is the eclipse. So your spouse health also might be a little bit of worry, but you'll be able to manage that because of your Rashadipati being bit strong. So that's very much noted. And Jupiter is aspecting your Rashi, so you don't have to worry much. And your career perspective, you may not feel to work actually. That's one thing I can say, because of Venus, a benefic planet, if placed in the 10th house, the person might not urge or feel to work hard in workplace, and they might just want to work, get paid, and go away from there. So the person will not have that ambition or passion to work hard. So for Makar Rashi, it is very important, because Shani, being a Rashidipati, will never ever reward you any kind of rewards unless and until you work very, very hard. So for Makar Rashi natives, this is not anything like a bad time period. So you'll be more inclined to spirituality. You'll experience a good amount of time period with your family also. But just take care of your approach. As I mentioned, like if you are in your workplace also, you have to work hard, because there is no substitute for hard work here. And also with your relation with your mother, and also on your spouse. So this was for Makar Rashi natives. And next, coming to Kumbha Rashi. So for Kumbha Rashi, you're already in the mid phase of Sadhasati, and again one Grahana in the second house. So all the savings you had all are washed out. So you might have to struggle very hard to start saving money, and you will definitely struggle for that. And second house is not in a good position, and fifth house not in a good position. Ninth house, you have Venus there, so that will help to some extent, because Venus is the Yoga also for Kumbha Rashi. But again, it might be only for a few days. So that's also a concern. And Venus has just entered Tula Rashi, so it will also needs a day or two time to help you in that matter. So for Kumbha Rashi natives, monetary issues are surreal. So you have to be extra careful whether when you are spending money, because you will not be able to save that great amount of money unless and until Rahu moves out of second house. Because usually it said Rahu gives a great amount of money when it is in second house, but in these kind of conditions, he won't give, and currently it's in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, so it's much more difficult to expect. And if your Rashi, if your Kundli has a good amount of Dhani Yoga, then you might not experience that amount of problems as I mentioned now. But if your horoscope doesn't have much Dhani Yogas, then this time period is not a good one. Next, last, moving to Meena Rashi. So for Meena Rashi natives, of course, the eclipse is happening at your side only, and I know you might be waiting from a long time. This Rahu Grasta Chandragrahana is happening after the 18 years, because 9 years ago you had Ketu Grasta Chandragrahana, and so this might be a little bit tough time period. So mental agony is noted, sleeping sickness is noted, and unpleasant events is noted. And you might experience your inclination towards spirituality also during this time period, because when you're worrying so much mentally, there are only two things to do. Either you might attempt to do something which you should not do, or the second one is you have to move towards spirituality, so to find some amount of peace in life. So the second path looks more, because Meena Rashi is Jupiter's Rashi, Guru's Rashi, and Guru represents their spirituality, and now he is gaining good amount of strength, being at 26 degree, and he'll become Vakri also. So we can say that the time might begin for you to be spiritual also during this time period. And because of Mars, your second and ninth lord in the fourth house aspecting 10th house, so career wise you might see some good amount of improvements and all, but your higher authority wouldn't be that impressed by your work. They might expect too much, or they may not be happy with your performance also. But your marital relations would be really good, even having Sun Ketu in the 7th house, because it is surrounded by two benefic planets and it's in Shubhakartari Yoga. You may see that your marital relations would be going very smooth also, and it's a good time period. So, for Meena Rashi natives, apart from that Moon Rahu conjunction Rashi, bringing unnecessary mental agony, confusions, or of what to do and all, it looks seem good actually right now. So, obviously, financially, you have to plan well before spending money. That's very much noted here. So, this was the individual moon sign predictions for all the 12 Rashis. I hope you liked it. Please drop in your feedback and suggestions in the comment box. And next, I'll come up with something else also.